Exposed, airline staff block black pilot for 15 minutes, her amazing response changed everything. Maya stood at the bustling Atlanta airport, her heart racing as she prepared for the moment she had dreamed of for years. The announcement for her flight hummed through the terminal, a symphony of hope and excitement. Today was her first day as a captain, a dream come true. But just as she was about to walk onto the tarmac, the energy shifted. A group of airline staff blocked her path, faces full of confusion and disbelief. The air felt electric, thick with tension. "Excuse me," she said, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling around her. "I'm the captain for this flight." But they didn't budge. Maya's chest tightened as seconds dragged into minutes. She replayed her mother's words in her mind, "Don't let anyone tell you what you can't do." The sacrifices her mother made, working night shifts and taking on extra jobs to support her, flooded her heart with fire. Those moments of resilience pushed her to this day. But would those same values hold up against a tide of unconscious prejudice? The minutes ticked painfully by. Passengers began to whisper amongst themselves, glancing nervously at Maya. A military veteran, dressed sharply in his uniform, approached. "Is everything all right?" he asked, perplexed. Maya could feel the heat rising in her face, her fists clenching. This wasn't just a personal battle, it was a fight against something far greater. "Why am I being stopped?" Maya demanded, holding her ground. "I have earned my place in this cockpit. I'm here to fly this plane." Her calm voice resonated, spilling over the barrier the staff had created, glancing through the uncertain eyes of onlookers. Each passing face reflected a mix of recognition and encouragement, their breaths hitching as they sensed injustice in the air. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." More voices joined in support. "She's the captain." Someone shouted. "Let her through." A chorus of solidarity erupted, the frustrations of years past spilling into the present. Maya's heart soared as she felt a swell of unity ricochet through the terminal. It wasn't just about her, it was about every person of color who has faced barriers, every dream that was challenged. With the clock ticking down, Maya stood her ground, a figure of determination. The stirring crowd watched, breaths held as the airline staff, now visibly awkward and confronted by the gathering momentum, hesitated. Would their fear of confrontation outweigh her undeniable right to lead? The tension thickened, a tangible reminder of the battles fought and those still looming ahead. As the final call for boarding echoed through the airport, anticipation hung in the air, thick as fog. This was not just a fight for one woman's career, it was a louder call for justice. Would this moment propel Maya forward, or would she remain a statistic? The next seconds held the weight of a nation's yearning for equality. Maya felt the weight of the crowd pressing in around her, their faces reflecting hope and anger. She could hear the murmurs, each one a delicate thread woven into the fabric of the moment. "Let her go," echoed again, louder this time. The energy vibrated through her, pushing her forward. As she stood there, time seemed suspended. The airline staff, visibly sweating under the weight of their own hesitation, exchanged glances. What had they expected? A timid pilot willing to step back? Not today. Today, Maya was a force of nature, a blend of hope and defiance. "Listen," one of the staff finally spoke, a tremor in their voice that betrayed their resolve. "We just need to verify your credentials." There was an atmosphere of uncertainty, a hint of apology woven into the question. Maya clutched her pilot's license tighter, feeling the raised edges of the hard plastic. "You want verification?" she asked, taking a step closer, her confidence growing. The veteran from earlier stepped forward. He fixed his gaze on the staff, his eyes narrowing. What is there to verify? She's in uniform, she's ready to fly. His voice rose above the chatter, cutting through the tension as if the words had wings of their own. Nobody's denying that, snapped one of the airline employees, but there was no conviction in their tone. The crowd behind Maya surged, creating a buffer of strength that bolstered her own. Maya took a deep breath, pulling every ounce of her determination into her chest. I have trained for this day my entire life, she said, her voice steady and calm. You're not just blocking me, you're blocking potential, dreams, and every person who believes this job can be theirs too. This isn't just about me, it's about every woman and man who has had the door shut in their face because of the color of their skin. She saw their faces shift, recognition dawning. A collective awareness of the fight at hand rippled among the onlookers. The whispers turned into affirmations, people urging her on, chanting her name like a rallying cry. One of the airline staff hesitated, a flicker of understanding crossing their features. We just need to check the system, they stammered. It's protocol. Maya rolled her shoulders back, determination etched on her face. Then check it. But I will not stand here and be treated like a child who needs permission. I earned this, and I deserve respect. The final boarding call echoed one last time, but the atmosphere had shifted. She felt the crowd's energy, a wave back and forth like an ocean tide, unyielding and strong. Maya narrowed her understanding of the moment. Was this the moment that would redefine her future? Suddenly, the veteran responded again, his voice steady and filled with authority. She's not the only one who deserves respect today. If you don't let her through, I guarantee you'll be dealing with all of us. Maya's heart raced as eyes flitted around, absorbing the scene. Would the staff give in to the pressure, or hold firm against the rising tide of change? Her future hung delicately in the balance, poised for peril or glory. As she stood, waiting with grasped breath, an undeniable truth settled in. Whatever happened next could change everything, but would they let her fly? The tension hung thick in the air, the crowd alive with expectancy. Maya's heart pounded, each beat a litany of her hopes. As she stood firm, the voices around her morphed into a chorus urging her on, a community of strangers suddenly united by a shared purpose. They believed in her, and with each cheer, her resolve fortified like iron. The airline staff hesitated, caught between protocol and principle. A moment stretched into eternity as uncertainty danced across their faces. Maya felt the weight of their indecision as if it were a physical presence pressing down, and she fought against it. Look at what you're doing. She implored, her eyes darting between the staff and the crowd. You're not just delaying a flight, you're uprooting dreams that have taken years to grow. There are people waiting to see what happens next. You have the power to change a life today, don't waste it. One of the staff, a young woman whose bunched fists at her side signaled her conflict, glanced toward her colleagues. We're just following procedures, she whispered, though her voice trembled as if she were about to crack. Are those procedures worth blocking talent? Maya countered, feeling a rush of adrenaline. Or are they worth breaking this cycle of discrimination that has held so many back? Today can be different. The crowd began to shift, their energy morphing into an almost palpable pulse. Whispers turned from doubt to support, a wave of empathy washing over them. They were with her, backing her with a resolve of their own. The veteran stepped forward again, his face a mask of fierce determination. This is our moment, he announced, his voice cutting through the air like a knife. We won't let our past dictate our future. If you don't let her go, you'll have more than just us to deal with. We'll make sure the world knows what you did here. And there it was, the sliver of threat hanging unspoken but understood. The staff flinched, visibly shaken by the unexpected alliance bonding around Maya. Wouldn't you rather be on the right side of history? Maya pressed, the urgency in her voice lighting a fire in her chest. This is about changing perceptions, about believing that anyone can fly high regardless of background. Please, give us all that chance. More voices joined the chant, let her fly. Let her fly. The words surged through the terminal like an anthem, then, in a break of silence, an older man in the crowd took a step forward, his years etched deeply in his face. "I fought for what I have," he said, his voice steady but choked with emotion. "We all worked hard for opportunities that were denied to us. Maya, you represent every one of us who has ever dreamed big against the odds." Tears pricked at the corners of Maya's eyes. She didn't just feel supported, she felt uplifted by a legacy of resilience woven into the fabric of everyone present. Finally, the airline staff shared another anxious glance, the balance shifting. The young woman stepped toward them again, her voice breaking through the noise. "We can check the system. Just give us a moment," she said. An opening. Maya held her breath, the moment teetering on a knife's edge. Would they find a way to let her fly? Would the opportunity she had fought for finally come to fruition? And in that heartbeat of uncertainty, as the world moved around her, Maya knew that whatever happened next would resonate far beyond this airport. It would shape the stories of those yet to come. Maya stood frozen in the moment, her heart racing as the crowd buzzed with an energy that felt electric and alive. She could sense their anticipation, their hope woven into the fabric of her existence at that very second. This was not just about her anymore, it was about everyone believing they could fly, reach heights unthinkable. Against all odds, the young woman from the airline staff took a deep breath. "Please, can you all calm down?" She tried to plead, her voice pitched higher in response to the escalating tension. "I just need to verify a few details to make sure everything is right." "Then do it," shouted a voice from the crowd, igniting a chorus of agreement. Faces turned towards the airline staff with determined expressions, fists raising in solidarity. Maya could hardly believe her eyes. For a brief second, the weight of the world felt lighter, buoyed by the collective will of those around her. Hope, courage, and the spirit of countless others echoed through the terminal. The young woman nodded and hurried off to the back room, her colleagues trailing behind her. An impatient silence filled the air, punctuated only by nervous whispers and the soft shuffling of feet. Maya took a step forward, heart pounding, needing to fill that silence with something more than anxiety. "Thank you," she breathed, looking into the eyes of those around her. "No matter what happens today, you all have made a difference. Just by standing here, you're showing that we're tired of barriers built on fear and ignorance." It was emotional, the moment felt raw, real. She could see her words resonating in the faces of those who sacrificed so much to be able to stand in solidarity, and then, as if on cue, the young woman returned, her face flushed but eyes glimmering with a newly fueled resolve. "We're checking everything and we've allowed for some flexibility today. I'll put in the request," she announced, her voice more confident now. The crowd held its breath, the fabric of hope binding them together more tightly than ever before. Maya felt the world shift around her, the weight of what she had fought for hung precariously in this moment. "Thank you," she whispered. The release of breath seemed to ripple through the crowd. "You're doing the right thing." They erupted into applause, cheers swelling through the terminal once again. Tears of joy shimmered in Maya's eyes as she listened to their encouragement. Her heart lifted, the fears she held just minutes ago transforming into a sense of purpose, of mission. But amidst the cheers, shadows lingered. A cold spike of doubt raised its head, whispering worries of whether the system would truly bend. What if they denied her still? Something tugged at her, the memory of struggle that had plagued her journey resurfacing, a reminder of all the barriers faced, yet in that uncertainty, Maya felt something shift again. A realization. This fight was more than for her, it encapsulated every dream deferred and every spirit crushed. It was against the odds that they stood together, a tapestry of resilience. The airline staff was hurriedly discussing logistics, murmurs traveling amongst them. Maya's breath caught as she sensed a change in tone behind the scenes. Her heart raced again. Would they let her go? Just then a voice rang out over the intercom, "Attention to all passengers." Would she finally hear the word she had yearned for, or was this moment too good to be true? The crowd waited breathlessly, poised on the brink of the unknown. The intercom crackled and the crowd strained to listen, leaning forward, hearts synchronized in rhythm. "Attention to all passengers. We appreciate your patience during this unforeseen situation. We're working diligently, and we will provide an update shortly. Maya felt a wave of frustration wash over her. An update? Was that all they could offer? She glanced around, reading the expressions carved on the faces of those surrounding her. Excitement and anxiety swirled in the air like a thick fog, making it hard to breathe. She had rallied them for this moment, and now, uncertainty threatened to choke the atmosphere she had sought to ignite. A voice broke through the mounting tension. We've come too far to let this slip away. They can't keep us in the dark. Someone shouted, raising their fist high, and the crowd surged with agreement, fists pumping in solidarity. The raw emotion brought a lump to Maya's throat. It was infectious, it stirred something deep inside. Listen, Maya called out again, her voice steady, trying to hold the energy. Whatever happens, we've shown them that we're not here to accept no for an answer. We're here to claim our space. The cheers swelled once more, lighting up the terminal like fireflies in the dusk. But even as hope filled the air, doubts clung to her like a shadow. What would they say? Would the unseen barrier still loom as solid as it had in the past? And as desperation crept in, so did a little fire of determination. It was never just about her flight. It was about the promise of justice for everyone who had ever been sidelined or turned away. Then the young airline staff member re-emerged from the back, her brow furrowed, holding a clipboard tightly in her grasp. She scanned the room, her eyes locking onto Maya's. Was that uncertainty she saw? Or a flicker of hope? The crowd hushed, waiting, breaths collectively bated. Thank you all for your patience, she began, her voice gaining strength. We have verified your records, and I'm happy to announce. A soft gasp echoed through the terminal. Maya's heart raced. We're moving forward with your boarding process. You will all be allowed on that flight. The young woman's voice burst with the thrill of triumph, chaotic joy erupted. Cheers filled the terminal as people embraced one another, their faces shone with tears of disbelief mixed with sheer happiness. Maya felt buoyed by the swell of emotions crashing around her. Her heart danced in her chest, electric with the weight of every struggle leading to this moment. She had fought for this, and it wasn't just for her, it was for all of them, yet even as they celebrated, doubt still clung to Maya's thoughts. What would the world look like once they stepped off that plane? Was this just the first step towards true change, or would they still find themselves facing walls of resistance when they landed? The crowd continued to cheer, their voices rising and falling like waves crashing against a shore. In the middle of it all, Maya raised her arms, soaking in the euphoria. She was a part of something bigger, connected to everyone's dreams in this moment of victory. It felt monumental, yet fleeting. Then it happened. A figure from the airline staff appeared again, brow furrowed and lips pursed. The mood shifted, the cheers fading to murmurs of concern at the sight. We have a situation, came the hesitant announcement, and every heart collectively dropped. What could possibly go wrong now? Would this victory be snatched away just as quickly? Please, we need to talk. Maya's stomach twisted with dread. What were they about to face next? Would this moment of joy dissolve into confusion once again? Maya stood at the front of the crowd, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Silence enveloped them like a heavy blanket. The airline staff member, looking more nervous than before, stepped further into the open space. Her gaze shifted after glancing down at her clipboard, and Maya could see the flicker of worry cross her face. Listen, the staff member said, voice shaky yet urgent. I need to clarify the situation. One of our pilots has just been grounded due to irregularities. We might have to delay boarding. A collective gasp swept through the group, echoing off the stark walls of the terminal. The sweet taste of victory curled back into a bitter aftertaste. Maya's heart raced as murmurs filled the air. Disbelief, anger, frustration. How could this happen now, after they had finally claimed their moment? I know how hard you've all fought for this, the staff member continued, holding up her hands as if to quiet the crowd. But we need to ensure safety above all else. This is standard procedure. Maya stepped forward. What does that mean for us? She tried to keep her voice steady, but uncertainty seeped through her words. The crowd leaned in, faces tight with anxiety. It means we may need to find a new pilot, the staff member replied. Or, we might have to divert flights. I don't know yet. A murmur of outrage erupted, drowning out her words. Some slammed their bags down on the floor, frustration boiling over like a pot left unattended. Others exchanged furious looks, the collective disappointment sinking in deeply. Maya felt a surge of determination replace the dread gnawing at her stomach. We can't be in this position again. We've come too far, she shouted, echoing the sentiment from moments earlier. We can't let them pull this from under us. The crowd quieted a bit, intrigued. They turned to her, eyes filled with desperation mixed with hope. She took a deep breath, trying to harness the energy swirling inside her. What if we demand accountability? She proposed, the words spilling out rapidly. What if we all stand together and refuse to leave until our voices are heard? They can't keep us in limbo again. Yeah. Someone in the back shouted, lifting a fist. We deserve to know what is going on. Word by word, the crowd began to rally. Voices chimed in, each adding fuel to the flame Maya had ignited. The tension in the air transformed into a magnetism that bounced off them, pulling everyone back into unity. Together, Maya called, her voice stronger with each passing moment, we can change this narrative. We deserve respect, and we will not just disappear into silence. As they joined her in shouts of agreement, the energy shifted. Their anger transformed into a chorus of solidarity, a powerful symphony of people unwilling to let their experiences be sidelined once more. Suddenly, the young staff member stepped forward, bewildered by the reaction. I can talk to management. I'll make sure they understand the situation, she said, her voice uncertain but resolute. Maya met her gaze. Please do. And bring us the answers we need. We're standing right here, ready to fight for what's ours. The staff member nodded, though doubt still flickered in her eyes. As she turned to speak with her colleagues, a surge of hope rippled through the crowd. What if this is just another hurdle? Someone whispered next to Maya. It doesn't matter. We're here now, and we're not moving until we get what we came for. Maya replied fiercely, but behind the courage swelling within her, another thought lingered. What kind of journey was still to come? Would their voices echo enough to create true change, or would they only find themselves facing the same barriers again? Maya's heart clenched, and she glanced back toward the staff as they huddled together. The stakes were higher than ever. Please, she whispered to herself, let this be the moment we finally break through. Little did she know, a storm brewing just outside the terminal was about to test their resolve in ways none of them could imagine. Would they rise together, or would they be torn apart? By unforeseen challenges. The minutes ticked by slowly, each second echoing in the uneasy silence. As Maya scanned the crowd, she could see the anxiety etched on the faces around her. Would they really find the strength to hold their ground? The murmurs of frustration had begun to whisper out once more, a warning of the low tide of hope that might recede into despair. The airline staff huddled in a tight circle. Through the distant chatter of the terminal, Maya strained to hear snippets of the conversation. Words like emergency meeting, new pilot, and passenger compensation floated through the air, each one cutting deeper than the last. She felt her heart race. Compensations wouldn't matter if they didn't board. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated the room, momentarily brightening the dim ambience of the terminal. The thunder that followed echoed their darkening spirits. Outside, the storm had arrived. Rain streamed down the glass windows in heavy sheets, blurring the world beyond. Maya turned back toward her fellow passengers, doing her best to maintain the camaraderie that had built. We can't let them use this storm to sweep us away, she said, her voice clearer, louder now. Let's band together. They need to see we mean business. A few people nodded, but others shifted uneasily, eyes flicking toward the exit. They were tired, drained from the fight, and now rain seemed like a barrier between them and freedom. She could even see doubt sneaking into their expressions. Listen. I know it feels like we're powerless right now. But remember why we're here. We have every right to be on that plane to fight for our dreams as anyone else. We've gotten so close, we can't let the weather, or anything else, push us back. A voice rang out from the back, strengthened by Maya's passion. What choices do we really have? We can either stand our ground or walk away without getting what we deserve. The tension shifted again, a crack of hope flaring back to life. Maya smiled, buoyed by the energy around her. There was fire in those eyes now, and she could practically see the flickers of courage begin to light up the crowds, a dance of defiance against the storm outside. Just then, the airline staff member returned, a mix of relief and urgency on her face. Okay, everyone. I have some news, she called out, attempting to pierce through the murmurs that had accumulated once again. The crowd fell silent, each person eager to catch every word. We're in touch with management. They're working on finding a new pilot. It'll take some time, but we appreciate your patience. I know it's tough, but we're doing our best. The storm outside intensified, rattling the terminal glass. The passengers shifted, uncertainty flooding their minds again. Maya stepped forward. Some time means nothing without a promise. We need something solid. Can you commit to updates? To keeping us informed every step of the way? The staff member hesitated, glancing back at her colleagues. The weight of responsibility was heavy on her shoulders. I can't promise anything, but I'll push for that. I'll fight for you all. Maya fought the urge to feel disappointed. But there were things she could see starting to unfold within the crowd. They were lifting their voices, their hands reaching out for clarity, for a resolution, for something real. Then let us show them we're not backing down. Maya cried, hoping to elevate the energy once more. As cheers erupted around her, she felt a spark igniting among strangers. Integrating more voices, they became a tapestry woven in resilience, their hopes mingling with every heartbeat. Yet, deep inside, she felt the tension rising. Uncertainty loomed larger than the storm outside. Could they sustain this momentum long enough to break through? Would the promise of a new pilot emerge, or would more hurdles descend upon them? The storm raged on, and with it, Maya's heart raced. What miraculous outcome could still await them as they stood on this precipice of change? Would they all emerge victorious, or would the storms in their hearts prove stronger than the one howling against the terminal walls? The crowd buzzed with renewed energy, their cheers ricocheting off the terminal walls, yet the storm outside continued to ravage the skies. The air crackled, not just with electricity, but with something deeper, a sense of purpose. Maya looked around, her heart swelling as she soaked in the diverse faces of determination. Each one echoed her own unyielding spirit. Just then, one man stepped forward. His hair was damp, and he brushed the rain from his brow. What if we organize ourselves further? He suggested, his voice rising above the hum. We could form a line. Show them we mean business, but make it peaceful, show them unity. A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd. Yes. Maya's mind raced. If they could band together visibly, the staff would have a harder time ignoring them. Both hope and fear wove through her heart as she nodded emphatically. And we could make signs. Another woman chimed in. Let them know why we're here, what we're fighting for. The suggestion excited Maya. It was a simple yet powerful step that could amplify their message. Yes. She said, clapping her hands together. Let us find something to write on. Show our resolve. People looked around for items to craft their messages. Somehow, with the flaring storm as their backdrop, the terminal transformed from a space of chaos to a bastion of collective strength. Any remnants of doubt began to wash away, like the rain against the glass. A few minutes later, hastily made signs began to emerge. A text scrawled across an old cardboard box read, "We deserve answers." While another, adorned with bright-colored letters, proclaimed, "United we fly." Maya's heart thundered, not just from the chaotic energy of the moment, but from the clarity of purpose she saw reflected across her companions' faces. Just as they prepared to carry their makeshift banners to the front, the airline staff returned, this time with a different air about them. The expressions were grave, yet the tension was palpable. One of the employees, a man with glasses perched at the edge of his nose, stepped forward. "We need to ask that you refrain from any disruptions. We want to help, but this needs to be handled a certain way." Maya felt the defiance bubble up inside of her. "And we're asking for something too. We deserve a voice," she countered. The crowd murmured, the fire building again in their hearts. One woman stepped up alongside Maya, her eyes fierce. "We've waited long enough for a chance to be heard. Don't treat us like we're just a disturbance. We're here because we care. We deserve respect." "Exactly." Maya agreed, feeling the collective energy swirl around her. "No more empty promises. We'll stand here together until we have the answers we need. Let us keep it peaceful, but let them know we're not moving until they address us." Courage coursed through the crowd as they stood firm, signs raised high. Though the weather raged outside, an intense calm began to descend around them, fueled by solidarity. Every heartbeat echoed an unyielding conviction. But in the quiet before the airline staff responded, doubt began to creep back into Maya's mind. What would happen if they still didn't listen? A flicker of panic surged in her chest. Was she leading them only to disappointment, or could change be nurtured from this standstill? As tension hung in the air, anticipation thick enough to slice, silence prevailed. Each person held their breath, wondering how the response would shape their hopes and whether this crucial moment would finally crack through the barriers. Would their passion provoke the change they sought, or would it backfire with devastating consequences? The air shifted as the airline staff exchanged glances. Maya could see the uncertainty on their faces. An employee whispered to the others, their huddled bodies betraying an initial reluctance. But the resolute signs held high by the crowd seemed to pull stronger reactions than Maya had anticipated. The man with glasses took a deep breath, as if steeling himself for the task ahead. "Look, we understand your frustration," he began, his voice measured yet wavering slightly. "We really do. But the delays aren't just about us. We're facing a system that's out of our control as well." His words hung in the air, met with grim faces and clenched fists. Maya felt her stomach twist. Was he apologizing, or just brushing their concerns aside? Suddenly, she stepped forward, raised her voice, and interrupted the man mid-sentence. "That's the point. We're here to change that system. You have the power to help us, or at least guide us. We're not leaving until we understand what is happening." The crowd erupted into a low but fierce roar of agreement. The tension broke slightly, revealing the passion lurking beneath the surface. They were no longer just countless individuals stuck in a terminal, they were a collective force, fused by a shared struggle. Another staff member, a woman who seemed younger and more hesitant than the rest, raised her hand tentatively. "We can't promise anything," she said softly, her voice almost drowned out. "But maybe we could find a way to communicate with the higher-ups. A letter? Something formal?" "Yes." A voice yelled from the back, igniting the crowd further. "Call it what you want, but we will not be silenced." Maya turned to the woman and saw the flicker of hope in her eyes. "Let us write a letter," she suggested, inspired by the woman's tone. "We'll compile our demands, everything we need, everything we want explained." "Right now?" someone shouted, bewilderment painted across their expression. "Why not?" Maya replied, her heart racing with an idea taking flight. "Let us make it visible. Bring out more signs, but this time, let us write our requests and questions. Every customer deserves clarity." Fired up, the crowd surged into action. Old cardboard boxes were overturned, ripped apart, and transformed into makeshift sheets. Pens appeared from pockets and bags, scrawling messages like "What's the reason for the delay? And when can we expect updates?" Maya could hardly contain her excitement. This wasn't just about raising voices, it was about putting thoughts into words, tangible expressions of their frustrations. The storm outside raged on, but within those terminal walls, hope swelled. As more messages took shape, the airline staff watched, still tense, but something in their posture shifted. They shifted nervously from foot to foot, and murmurs began to drift among them. Maya caught snippets of their conversation, words like impact and reaction mingling with furtive glances. As their signs and requests piled together, a burst of determination surged through her. If we stay organized and keep it peaceful, she declared, they can't ignore us any longer. But in that moment of unity, another thought swirled in the back of Maya's mind. What if they did ignore them? What if this turned into a standoff? Just as that question lodged itself deeply, a voice rang out from the group. Let us set up a meeting place right here. We will not leave until we're heard. Maya felt the weight of anticipation thrum through her. Everyone looked to her, expecting guidance as if she were a lighthouse against the stormy sea, but deeper fears loomed. Heart pounding hard against her ribcage, she murmured a prayer for this fragile hope to take root. What if this was only the beginning? What if they were fighting for something far greater? It was time for action, but what if that action could spiral beyond their control? The stakes were set and the outcome hung in the balance. Maya stood tall, feeling the electric pulse of unease lingering in the air. The storm outside intensified, but inside the crowded terminal, unity pulsed like a heartbeat, igniting courage in the hearts of all around her. Each time she looked at her fellow passengers, their faces ignited with passion and determination, she felt an unyielding resolve build up within her. This wasn't just about one flight anymore, this was about countless dreams and futures on the verge of being swept away. Let us gather our thoughts. Maya called, urgency resonating in her tone. We need clear goals. What do we want? What demands will make them listen? The crowd quieted, contemplation washing over them as they processed her words, each individual weighing their hopes against the realities they faced. A man stepped forward, determination etched across his face. We need answers about the delays, accountability for the airline's decisions, and assurance that we'll get out of here today. Maya nodded, invigorated by his resolve. Yes. We need comprehensive communication. Let us make sure they know we're serious. She turned to the group, her voice ringing with clarity, we will stand united in this. We will not leave without answers. As voices rallied, the crowd began to craft their messages with fervor. Signs emerged from fragments of cardboard, vibrant colors, and bold lettering boldly declaring their demands. We deserve transparency. Stop the delays. Let us fly. The air filled with commitment, something tangible, a powerful spirit of solidarity that refused to be dimmed. Sudden whispers began to grow among the airline staff huddled nearby. Anxiety danced in their eyes as they stole glances at the growing tide of determination from Maya and the crowd surrounding her. Just then, a woman from the airline staff stepped forward, her expression softened by apprehension. We've discussed your concerns. And we're going to have higher management join us in a few moments to address your questions. Maya felt a rush of triumph course through her. You're taking our voices into consideration? She asked, holding on to hope like a lifeline. Yes, the woman spoke, sincerity shining through the tension. But please remember, we are still bound by protocols, and not all your demands can be met immediately. However, we will try our best to get you the clarity you need. The crowd buzzed with reactions, a whirlwind of emotions. Relief washed over some faces, while others were skeptical. That tension bubbled again, but Maya held her ground. That's a start. Listen, she said, her voice unwavering, what we demand is respect. An acknowledgement of all our hard work and passion we've poured into getting here. Just as she spoke, a bolt of lighting sparked outside, illuminating their gathered force, a reminder of the wilderness that raged beyond the terminal walls. Everyone, when management arrives, we speak as one. Keep your voices united. She shouted, her confidence breaking through the cacophony of doubt. When they see our unity, they will understand that we mean business. Minutes felt like hours as anticipation hung heavily. Maya's heart raced with hope and fear intertwined. She knew that this moment could indeed be the turning point. It was too big to fail, she thought. This was more than just a flight. It was a statement of resilience that could burst through walls of prejudice. Then, a man wearing formal attire approached from the back, flanked by several airline staff members. The room hushed, all eyes glued to the newcomers. It was the moment they had been waiting for. The man raised his hand, signaling for quiet. "Thank you for your patience," he began, and each word felt heavy with expectation. "We understand the urgency of your situation, and we are here to discuss it with you directly." Maya's heart skipped. This was it. "Please, we need clarity. What can you tell us about the delays and the new pilot?" She called out, her voice strong and unwavering. "We are reviewing several candidates. I assure you, safety is our highest priority," he replied, an earnestness in his tone that evoked cautious hope. "We're also having a team compile an update to provide transparency about this entire situation." As murmurs of approval rippled through the crowd, Maya felt the weight lift. "We need a timeline," she pressed, her heart racing. "Everyone here has urgency behind their dreams." "Yes." Another voice boomed from the crowd, and she could sense their hearts lifting together. The airline representative took a deep breath, acknowledging the collective spirit around him. "I will work on that. We understand the importance of your 100 stories woven into this singular moment. Your bravery is compelling, and it's prompting us to push the dial for all of you." Maya beamed, feeling the hearts of her fellow passengers swell around her. This battle was hard fought, but today, they were emerging victorious in unity. The collective strength had shifted the narrative, the resolution lay in sight, and as the crowd erupted into applause, Maya knew this was just a win for herself but a transformative moment for so many who dared to believe they could take flight. Hope soared, lighting the way. "Thank you," she called out, tears brimming. "Thank you for listening. We will rise together." The crowd swelled, voices vibrating with joy and relief, as they understood that even amid storms, the strongest currencies of their desires lay not just in dreams but in community. And on this day, they had not only made their voices heard, they had paved the way for change that would ripple far beyond this terminal. This was just the beginning. And so, as the storm subsided, and the sun peeked through the clouds, they prepared for what lay ahead with hearts open and ready to fly. Now it's your turn. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support makes a difference, trust me. Comment your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Real change starts with us.